Isn't it funny how day by day nothing changes, but when you look back, everything is different? Last year, a lot of the lockdown reflections I shared with you were from my garden. We talked about the wisteria and the birds nesting, blue tits and great tits, and if you remember, the robin's eggs that never hatched, but they became food for the crows. As summer approaches and spring is almost over, the wisteria this year has already been and gone. And there's a bit of a sadness in me because I'm not sure that it was as beautiful this year as it was before. But maybe that's because I was expecting it to be just the same as it was last year. Somehow, everything and nothing changed over the course of the last year. Nothing changed insofar as the blue tits and the great tits, they've returned. Yet, everything has changed. There's a clematis that didn't make it through the winter. But the wrens and blackbirds and robins fledged. It was funny to see them lolloping around the garden this spring. It really made me smile, especially hearing about those robins and seeing them after such a tough year for them last year. Not all changes, of course, are joyful, especially the very big ones. And for me, the prospect of reordering the layout of our house to accommodate the way in which we now live today was a particular challenge for me. The disruption, the effort and all the resources, and all for what gain? Not to mention the loss of familiarity and, oh my days, the inconvenience. It was stressful, and yes, there were the occasional restless and sleepless nights. We really had to bear patiently with one another through all the upheaval. Well, people bore patiently with me, but we did it. And now it's done, I realise just how needed it was. Today we live better together because we dared to change. And we've chosen to make some changes in the garden now too. It's not as grand as it sounds, but we've encouraged the meadow plants to grow by leaving swathes of grassed area uncut. And we're beginning to tread a circular, reflective woodland path through the shade of the oak tree. It's not what it used to be. It's no longer the manicured garden that we inherited, and it's required a bit of effort to get it going. But it's definitely made more room in the garden for life, in all its fullness and diversity. To become Christ-like and to follow Christ is to be an advocate for change. We, both the church and as individuals, are works in progress. We are being changed from glory into glory. We are constantly being honed and moulded and shaped into the image of Christ, sometimes joyfully, often reluctantly, but always to bring glory to the gardener. So as we move from spring into summer, I hope that together we will continue to enjoy the garden, appreciating the need for gentle pruning and shaping, and encouraged by the flourishing of the annuals, hoping that we might find the courage to embrace any structural changes that we might need to make our landscape the shape that it needs to be, that we might live better together post-lockdown.